Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting. I want to welcome everyone out tonight. We got a good crowd in front of us, so I want to thank you for coming out. We're going to start tonight with our invocation, Reverend Heather McIntyre, First Presbyterian Church.
Good evening. Let us pray. Holy God, you are the creator and sustainer of all that is wise, all that is just, all that is good and merciful. And we give you thanks for everyone who has come to this meeting seeking the good of Anson County and its people. Bless this time together, O Lord. Fill everyone gathered here with a spirit of wisdom and discernment, so that together we may share our concerns, listen to one another's perspectives, and address the needs of Anson County. Bless our commissioners, O God, with compassion, creativity, discernment, eloquence, humility, and intelligence. May they make good, right, and effective decisions that move all of us in a positive direction. Our individual roles in Anson County are varied, O God, and no matter what those roles may be, help us set aside our egos and agendas and approach one another with a spirit of mutual care, respect, and compromise, so that we can work together for the betterment of everyone. If there are any divisions amongst us, O God, may your unifying spirit help justice, mercy, and healing to reign. May every discussion and decision that occurs here tonight help bring forth a more peaceful and abundant existence for all of our people. We ask these things, O God, because we trust in your goodwill for all people, and we are dedicating to doing our part to live into that will here. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. All right. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute and address the situation that we're seeing unfold in western North Carolina. I think all of our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved that's affected by the storm up there. I know that in this county there's multiple drop-off locations that are taking in donations and supplies that we can ship to the western part of the county or the state. I advise the citizens, anybody listening, anybody in this room, I hope you can find it in your heart to donate some supplies to these citizens that live in that area. The pictures that we all see are devastating, and it could have been Anson County just as easy. So we would want somebody bringing it to us if we were in that situation. So I hope everybody will take advantage of that and provide what you can to help out some of our neighbors, we're going to call them. So, all right, at this time, I'm going to read our ethics statement. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflicts of interest or appearances of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board tonight? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. Is there any conflicts tonight? No. All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. There's 5 items in the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve that at this time.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood. Any discussion on those items? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All righty, moving on, we're going to start with our appearances. We have Brian Nance, our EMS Director.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'll push it up.
Yeah, please speak in the mic.
Kind of talk. So, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I just want to take a minute. I talked to a couple of commissioners. I just want to take a minute to update everybody. Start with, y'all put a face to the name. I'm Brian Nance, or the manager calls me Bubba, whatever y'all want to call me. But just a little bit of what's going on with EMS. Y'all are aware, last year y'all passed the change in the schedule. The whole year we had trouble filling it. Y'all made some other changes this year. And as of September 1st, we were able to move to the 2472. Very excited at EMS right now. I feel like we went from being 9 personnel short to we have now full staff on the 24-hour ambulances, and we're working on 3 open slots for the Med1 truck. So that's dropping the vacancies drastically over the last 3 months. With the help of the commissioners and meeting with South Piedmont, we have a paramedic class running at the Anson EMS base. Got 3 of our basics that work with us going through that paramedic class, and hopefully we'll be able to fill some of the paramedic slots after they get out. We also have the EMT class going on in Polkton, and we're running it with 8 to 9 people in that class from different fire departments and stuff like that. So there's a lot of changes that have happened in EMS, and there's a lot of work still yet to do, but it's very positive changes, I feel like, and it's because of y'all getting behind us and supporting us that we were able to get where we are, and I just wanted to come up and say thank you, and we surely appreciate it. We truly appreciate it. So thank y'all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
I'll just speak on the EMS agency. I think we got some of the best in the state working right here in Anson County, and I appreciate what they do. I work with them, I'm gonna say day in and day out, and so I appreciate what you guys and girls do, women, men, for the county, and I know the citizens appreciate it as well. All right, moving on to our public addresses. There shall be a time set aside at each regular meeting of the board for public comment. Each citizen who wishes to speak during this time must sign up on a sign-up sheet prior to the start of the meeting. Each citizen will be allowed 3 minutes for their presentation. All citizens are expected to follow proper decorum and shall not use profanity nor defamatory speech. The public is expected to remain seated except when leaving the room. Only presenters listed on the agenda or recognized by the chairman will be called to the podium to address the board. Commissioners are expected not to comment on matters brought to the board during this time, but to delay action or comment until staff has had an opportunity to research the subject matter and to report necessary and relevant information to all members of the board. So at this time, I'm going to call, I think it's Alex Gaddy, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
First of all, I want to thank the esteemed board for allowing me to speak on something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's been that way for the last 12, 15 years. And what the subject is enhancing the opportunities for our students in our local schools. I'm the activities director over at Holler. I'm sure everybody knows what Holler is and what we've been doing. I've been there for 16 years, and there's one particular project that I've been tirelessly, and Holler and a lot of you community members have been assisting us with, and that is promoting tennis in our school system. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I brought a group of students to the school board meeting to demonstrate the advantages and the enhancement that tennis has presented to these young people. That was 12 years ago. And we discussed, and I know you guys are in dire straits. I don't know what's going on with the schools and all of that, but I figured out something that you guys can help us. So this is what we talked about. We talked about building tennis courts at the schools. That was 12 years ago. Since then, things happen. Budgets happen, disagreements happen. So that's taken into consideration. So I want to give you a little bit of more history, and I'm gonna, get through as fast as I can. The tennis program is called the Holler Eagles tennis program. The young people have been to the U.S. Open in New York City, performed at Center Court. They've been to Fort Lauderdale and Miami, Florida, representing us. They go to the Charleston tournament on Daniel Island almost every year. And we've got support from the USTA, the governing body of all tennis in America. They know us. We have the North Carolina Tennis Foundation, based in Greensboro. They've been right here in Anderson County at school board meetings, telling us that they could assist us when we're ready to build courts. One thing that's disappointed me greatly is I graduated in 1975 from Bowman High School. We had a regulation court, beautiful facility, and now it become dilapidated. And we have another court at Littles Park, 2 courts. And if we don't do something soon to bring those courts up to par, then we'll never be able to use them. So that's $300,000 right there, down the drain. So what I would like to do, I've been talking to the superintendent as to how we can forge a sponsorship with the school system so we can at least start to introduce the kids, the students, to tennis a little bit more. And I'm not talking about courts, I'm not talking about expensive things to do. Just by assistance on coaching. You know, we get some assistance on bringing the coaches in sometimes, 2 or 3 times a month. Holler has been towing the load for all this time without any assistance. So we hope that we can find a way that that the school system and with your blessing, the commissioners can kind of figure out a way through the superintendent that we could do something. I've had positive conversations with him, and he thinks that with a little bit more dialogue, there may be something like that we can do. In terms of transportation, using an activity bus. Right now we have Taekwondo at the Holler Center. The kids from Morven Elementary get picked up at Morven Elementary and drop right off at the Holler Center for their karate lessons. So another advantage of having the sport of tennis is when people look at our county, and we want to encourage people to come relocate here, and they find out that we have a tennis program, that could be another mark on the totem pole. Because tennis is, it's like golf. It's like golf. It's a culture. So we don't want our kids to miss out on that culture, because we have some very talented kids. It helps academically. You can't be dumb and play tennis. There's a lot. You gotta know some rules and all of that. So the kids are buying in, but we're not getting the participation because they don't see it. And the objective is to get them to see more of it. And we feel if they see more of it, we'll get better participation. And we hope that we can continue this dialogue and find a way that that's not stringent at this time, because I know the stringentness that you guys are under. So
Yes, sir. Well, we will be in contact with the school board and see if we can help facilitate that. So,
very well. Anybody have
Thank
any
you.
questions?
so,
Well, if you do, you can find me, and we can discuss whatever you need to discuss. Thank you for your time. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Gaddy, for that. All right, next on the list we have Mr. Wiley Ross.
Good evening, Chair and County Council. My name is Wiley Ross. I'm the town
Evening.
manager of Waynesboro. Just want to come here and say thank you for allowing the sheriff to assist us in our police shortage with the police department. It's definitely appreciated, and we definitely want to certainly thank you guys for allowing that to happen. And I'm open for any questions that you may have.
All right, any questions for Mr. Ross at this time? I know we have the Town of Wadesboro contract on our agenda coming up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're going to address that on October the 7th.
Okay. So, All right, well, we,
For the job you're doing.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I can stay here another 10 minutes if you want me to, just like
we appreciate it. We're gonna work with you, stand by we're here to help Anson County and the town of Wadesburg.
I appreciate
So,
that, definitely. Making our citizens safe, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the new manager.
Yes, sir. All right, next we have Mr. Terry Hayams.
I would like to thank y'all for hearing me today. I've got a question. It's 7 o'clock this morning. I got hit by an entourage of deputy sheriffs. They came out to my house. I just went to Bojangles to get a biscuit. I went back home and I looked around and all of a sudden an entourage of 3 deputy sheriff cars pulled up in the yard. I never had this happen. 8.5 years of living where I'm at. And if these deputies didn't know my character, what I was, then they would have probably handcuffed me. But I asked the chief deputy, I said, what was going on? He said, your tag's been turned in. I said, for what? He said, for following a school bus too close in endangerment. And I said, what? Following a bus too close? That's got to be wrong. Anyway, I just went to Bojangles and back home. Well, what my point I'm getting to today is this. I've never been approached by 3 deputy sheriffs. I think that we're babysitting the city. Our county is babysitting the city to take care of their entourage, of their duties that they're supposed to be doing that they're not doing. Am I pleased with our city manager? No, sir. Will I be pleased with him? No, sir. I will not be pleased with him. Because the things that's going on right now, raising our water bills, possibly raising our taxes and other things, the county could be focused on utilizing, making more money by utilizing, not having people crying on their shoulders, oh, we need this free. We need this free police protection. We need this sheriff's protection. It ain't all about that. Everybody has to pay their way. And I look at it like this. This is a world of paying your way, not getting no freebies. And that's the way I look at it. And the thing of it is we need to tighten the belt in this county and exercise on things that's going to be an income for the county. Not an outgo, but an income. And what my last word is this. We need to get our county straightened out because it's like the federal government. It's giving all the money away, and our county and city is giving all their money away. So we need to correct that and get it straightened out. My last word is this. Mr. Sossman, I appreciate your work. I appreciate what you're doing for the county. I appreciate all y'all commissioners. But I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I would like to see a turnaround of things happening in this county for the good of the county. Y'all, thank you, and I'll be praying for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Mr. Hayams. All right, that concludes our public addresses to the board. At this time, we're going to move on to our manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item I've got is it was going to be the Anson County and Town of Wadesboro contract, and I know you brought that up. It's my understanding that now is in the hands of the sheriff and the police chief to resolve, with your blessings, obviously.
Okay. Do we have a draft of that, I guess, agreement that they're going to make, or are the commissioners responsible for anything dealing with that contract?
Not at this point, they are not.
Okay.
It is between the sheriff and that's after extensive talks with our insurance carrier and another attorney who represents the insurance carrier.
Okay. So, all right. So that item's taken care of.
Yes, sir.
That was quick.
No, unless there's any questions from the board. Okay.
Okay, the next item is something that I've been asked questions about in the past couple of years that I've been here, and this is a project that is going to be a design and rehabilitation of the taxi lanes at the airport. And if you'll remember, several months back we put out an RFQ, request for qualifications. We had 3 or 4 I call them planning and engineering design firms that actually deal primarily with that work for airports. The commission at that time selected Michael Baker, and they will be our planners and engineers on the airport for 5 years, which is pursuant to the state rules and regs. They've submitted to us a proposal to actually design the taxiway and a lot of infrastructure at the airport that deals with it, like the subsurface work as well as drainage and so forth. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 14,000 square feet of surface as well as 2,500 feet or so of storm drainage. Their price for that is over my spending authority, so that's why you're getting it tonight. Their price is $266,859, and I'd like to recommend that you approve that. Their preliminary estimate that we would go out for bids on, and I've talked to our county attorney about that, is that it's going to probably be something on the order of about $150,000. And when it comes to this, it's kind of odd that you have the design work costing more than the actual physical work itself. But if it's not a problem from a legal perspective, if the attorney will give you blessings to approve both, I'd like to have that done, and that will help expedite the process.
What was that other amount, Mr. Saltzman?
So it was $156,000, which is a little bit over my expenditure, but it shouldn't be any more than that. The design part was $266,859, and to let you know, we're not spending it out of general fund. Those monies are already set aside from grants that we get. One of the good things about the North Carolina Aviation Program, which is obviously part of DOT, is that we can accumulate those funds over a couple of years until we get enough to actually do a project without hitting the county's fund balance.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. I was going to ask you to clarify that that's not coming out of our general fund, that is grant money we're spending.
It's not, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve at least the first, the design fee of $266,859, and then if we want to handle the second amount in the same motion, or we can do a second motion.
I make a motion for both amounts, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Second.
All right. So we got a motion by Commissioner Mims to approve the manager to approve the design fee and the estimated construction cost for the airport project. We have a second by Commissioner Woodburn. Any discussion on that?
In discussion, in the fact that we would have an ability to house more airplanes, when those airplanes are being housed in Anson County, do we get property tax from that?
Well, those that are actually housed at the airport, you do get property taxes on. I'm glad you brought that up because, no pun intended, but there's no room at the end. Every hangar, whether it's a hangar in common, which is one of the large box type hangars, or whether it's a T hangar, which is the smaller ones that house those, as well as tie down spaces, all the hangar space, put it like that, is full. We still have tie downs. At some point in time, we may have to expand that aspect of it as well.
Okay.
And I have actually approached Representative Brody in the past about securing funds from the General Assembly for hangar expansion. Problem is that since that is a money-making proposition, since you rent the hangars out just like you would a house, the state General Assembly usually does not do that, but doesn't stop us from asking.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the airport project? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on down the list.
Down the list. Next item is, and he's here to answer any questions I should happen to mess up, but Wendell Small, our Parks and Rec Director, who is also our Facilities Director, is requesting that you actually reclassify a maintenance technician position to maintenance supervisor. At this point in time, we do not have a maintenance supervisor. We've got several technicians and folks that work, but since Wendell's over 2 departments, he can't always be available to supervise the work that's going on, whether it's in facilities or whether it's in Parks and Rec of a maintenance type nature. And as you know, we've got a number of buildings and we've got parks. And so I agree with Mr. Small that and hope that you will see fit to approve this position change tonight. Like I said, it's a vacant position, and you reclassify it, we'll advertise it, and hopefully get somebody that's qualified to step in and take over that role.
All right, go ahead.
Well, at this time, if we're ready for a motion, I would make a motion to approve that upgraded position.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the reclassification of the maintenance technician position to maintenance supervisor. Motion by Commissioner Bricken, second by Commissioner Little Reed. Any other discussion on that? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. And the next item, I was thinking there was going to be, good job, Wendell. There was going to be someone here from the Anson County Rescue Squad. I don't see right now where there is, but the reason I was bringing this to you is I've had a request from them for additional funding from the Board of Commissioners. And when I say they, it was Anthony Ratliff, who's the current chief of the Rescue Squad, as well as former chief Tyler Green. And I don't know if you want to take that under advisement, get a written request from them, because this was all verbal just last week, if you will.
So they approached you about a request for some additional funding for their service to the county, I guess?
Provided. Right now, they're afraid due to the lack of funds and they're behind on their monthly expenditures that they're not going to be able to live up to and may default on the existing contract between the Rescue Squad and Anson County.
Do they have an amount they're requesting?
The amount that they indicated was something on the order of $400,000.
Okay.
And Mr. Sossman, what is the $400,000 for exactly?
They didn't specify exactly, but they did indicate, as I indicate, they're a month or two behind on their normal monthly payments to whatever these might be, and I'm guessing that's going to be it's going to be their jobs, their positions they have, if you will, salaries, as well as also their operations and maintenance. They said they have a lot of equipment issues, and that it's hard to keep their vehicles out of the maintenance garages. So that's a problem. I did ask them what their monthly expenditures were, and they said somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 a month. Now, if you do the math, and hopefully I don't mess this up too bad, but $40,000 a month times 12 is $480,000. If it's only $35,000, then that's $420,000. So my supposition is that would help get them through this fiscal year. Obviously, the fiscal year ends June 30, so we're in October now, so we've already had July, and August, September, so that would be 9 months more of payments.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that, and this is just me, I'd recommend, because I'd be in favor of helping them, but I think we need more.
Put it on paper.
We need more information.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to see it and look at it and sort through it and
that's what I was going to recommend. So I appreciate the board. Thank you, Commissioner Smith and Woodburn. But if it's your pleasure, what I can do is contact the chief and former chief, have a meeting with them, and see if they can put down in black and white paper a request, put it on the next agenda.
Well, that's where I was going with it, yeah. and itemized, and the cost for each, and then the total.
We can definitely do that if it's your pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if we need a motion for that, or if you're just requesting that to be done on the next agenda, that's fine.
I don't think we need a motion. Just this is information right now, and the action that have to be taken at that time. I hope.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I think we can handle that. Ms. Cannon's got plenty of notes. I'll watch her. We'll definitely contact them tomorrow and see if we can line up a meeting and go ahead and get that ball rolling.
Okay.
All right. If it be your pleasure, I do have one other thing.
Yes, sir.
That I could add to it. This is something that's, I think is good. Your finance director and I, earlier today, this afternoon, had participated in a meeting with the Local Government Commission. And as you know, the Local Government Commission is a part of the State Treasurer's Office. And in North Carolina, most states do not have a Local Government Commission. They just go out and sell bonds or borrow money helter-skelter regardless of a financial condition. But the Local Government Commission actually decides whether or not cities, counties, colleges, universities, schools can borrow money or not borrow money. And today, several months back, I put a request in for a $1 million combination grant and loan for the lead service line that we are under a federal mandate, if you will, as is every other water purveyor in the country. So we don't have a choice one way or the other. We've got to do an analysis, an asset inventory of all of our water lines, decide how much lead there is, and in some cases copper and other materials that the federal government has decided is injurious to our public health. So today, and I should also say that out of that potential $1 million, 60% of it will be forgiven. It'll be treated as a grant. The other 40% would be a loan. And so since it would be a loan, the Local Government Commission had us on the agenda today, and they unanimously approved us borrowing while following through with that $1 million grant loan combo, of which $400,000 would be paid back. So I think that's good news for us, because I don't think Anson County has done anything like that in a long time.
No, sir, they have not. And like you said, we were mandated by the federal government to do it. So we were either going to be on the hook for all of it, or, obviously if they approved it, we're only on the hook for $400,000 of it.
Well, that's right. I like to tell people it's better than a BOGO.
All right. Any discussion on that? On the lead service line agreement?
And we actually will have our contract engineers, Hazen and Sawyer, do that inventory. And then after that, we'll decide what we're going to do in terms of addressing the actual issue.
Okay. All right. At this time, are there any other questions for the manager? You got a question?
Mr. Chairman, I have one.
Yes, sir.
And that is regarding our annual audit, financial audit.
Mm-hmm.
It's due October 31st, and Mr. Sussman, are we still on track to meet that deadline?
Yes, Commissioner, we are on track. The audit firm has informed Ms. Berry, or now Ms. Borgia, and myself that they look forward to completing it sometime mid-month and then presenting it to the Local Government Commission on or about October 18. And then we have them scheduled to be at your November 4 meeting to present it to the commissioners.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Yes, Mr. Saltzman, the budget amendment we talked about, that you were supposed to speak to Ms. Berry about the vehicles. Did you talk to her about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what
The budget amendment about those cars?
the cars. The finance director didn't have the details on it, and so that's scheduled to be back on your agenda on the 15th of this month, which is 2 weeks from tonight.
All right. Anything else for manager at this time? All right. Hearing none, we're going to move on to the chairman's report. A couple weeks ago, I think we all have this flyer in front of us. A couple weeks ago, a couple commissioners, we met with our planning director, Mr. Nick Addison, and our tax administrator. And after we passed our countywide zoning, and we knew there were going to be, there are a few text amendments, changes we need to make to our zoning document. So at the advisement of our planning director, I'm going to read this statement, and I'm going to make a motion that we go ahead and I guess open the zoning document to make some changes, and Mr. Addison will be responsible for presenting those changes, and there'll be several, I think 2 public hearings involved with that process. So we're going to hear of this over the next few months, but this will start the process of making some changes to our zoning documents. So So this time, I'm going to make a motion for the planning director to draft text amendments to the zoning and subdivision ordinance to provide greater clarity or address an error or omission within the text and its associated tables, to revise text to clarify, strengthen, or expand upon the specific standards required in a subdivision, revise the table of permitted uses and table of dimensional requirements, revise the language regulating solar projects to be consistent and in accordance with the language of the ordinance at large, and to provide recommended text amendments for other revisions needed at this time. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. I've got a question once it seconds.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Little Reed, on the planning director and the zoning text.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, as he explained it, you know, that he went through the things that he's identified that need to be done right now, but there could be other things too. And I think this is basically what the motion says.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, should it be address any error or omissions, or is this just for right now?
Mr. Addison, are you wanting to address one specific error?
Instead of individually listing each item that we're going to
I'm not talking about that. Just say any error or omissions, then that way it's kind of open as opposed to specifying it right now. Yeah, I'm not asking for anything to be listed. I'm just wondering if we should change the language to say address any error or omissions.
I would say it's both. There's cases where there's errors and have been omissions,
right.
So it is both.
Right.
And I don't want to get too hung up on this particular motion. The way the ordinance is written, I don't have the authority to
right, I understand.
Initiate it.
Yeah.
So phrasing it that way just gives us a little bit of lateral movement.
Mr. Addison, if I may, is your question just to change "and" to "any"?
Yes. Change "and" to "any" and then add an S on omission.
That's fine. Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So,
from a legal standpoint, I would suggest you
okay.
go with
So the motion will read: provide greater clarity to address any error or omissions within the text and its associated tables. So, all right. So with those changes to the motion, are there any other discussions on this zoning document?
In the dimensional requirements, somehow are we including merging the planning board and the board of adjustments into both those boards, although they'll have to clarify which meeting they're at, would be able to overlap in the participants could be members of both?
Yes, that's one of the things we'll be clarifying in the ordinance, is that it will be a combined board of the same membership.
Okay.
Yes. So at a minimum of 5 members.
Yeah, I think the way right now, the way that it's probably going to be redrafted is setting it at 7. And, the statute provides where we can provide pay to the board members, but that's at the commissioner's pleasure if you would like to pursue that. Right now it's structured, depending on which section you read, it's either 5 and 2, and then there's another section that says 5 and may have 2. And there's several other discrepancies, and there was a failure to specifically state that both members will serve on both boards. So we just need to update some language to make sure it's in accordance with statute.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussions on the zoning change? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, we'll move on down to our commissioner concerns at this time. Are there any concerns or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, just one. I'd just like to recognize Chairman Calder for his participation in the Agriculture Steering Committee for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners this past week. He represented Anson County well. You would have been proud of him had you heard his comments, his recommendations, and based on what was happening is, and I think I mentioned this a month or so ago, each county was asked to submit proposals for legislative goals which will be taken up by the Legislative Goals Conference in November. And all of the I think it's 7 steering committees that the association has. Each one of those had meetings, and Chairman Coggle and myself were serving on the Agriculture Steering Committee, and like I said, he did a great job representing Anson County as far as, because that's the large portion of our economy is agriculture. And one of the goals that they were talking about, he provided input that would be very suitable to Anson County. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I appreciate that. Agriculture is pretty near and dear to my heart, so I'll try to take a positive stance for it all I can. But I appreciate you joining along on that steering committee, and I will encourage the other commissioners to get involved and join in on any of the steering committees. You can serve on any or all or none of them, but I encourage participation because the legislative goals that are going to get passed down, that goal gets sent to committee. The committee will then decide if that is sent to our conference that will eventually end up in the legislators' hands to lobby for those changes. So if there's something that's going to prohibit agriculture in Anson County, obviously I wanted to take a stance against that, so I wanted to make sure our voice was heard from one of our largest economic drivers in our county. And so I advise you to get involved in that, because they will have effects on Anson County. They're not just for the big cities, they're for rural North Carolina as well. So thank you for that, Mr. Woodburn. Are there any other comments or concerns? Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just would like to know what's the status of the mini mart. Has anybody have they got any vendors, or have they did their piping, or they ran their pipe? What's going on? I've been seeing people out there working, and I was just wondering what was going on with it.
So from the county standpoint, that project is complete. We completed our, if you want to call it our end, our part. Sewer line is run. It is ready to be tied into. I can't speak on the property owner's behalf, so I do not know where they are in getting a tenant. I don't know if the manager.
I know from our perspective, I've talked with our folks in our utilities department, and they have been contacted by the owner's plumbing company, and they're looking at doing the connections now. And I'm not sure how many connections they're going to make and what kind of tenants he has, because last time I talked with him, he wasn't ready to make any announcements yet.
Okay. Does that address your concern? Anything else? I understand. All right. Yes, sir.
Back to the planning board and the board of adjustment, we need to really keep moving forward with nominating those members, because right now we're getting ready to go into this whole process, and I think we really need to try to get you some nominations as soon as possible. So if the board would help.
I agree 100%, because I know there's probably a lot of pent-up demand right now for that, and I know there's projects out there. I've met with Nick several times as our county attorney, and I won't say it's moving like a bullet, but it's moving rapidly. And like I said, there is some pent-up demand for development here in this county.
I think each of us already has somebody appointed to the planning board. I know I do. I know who she is, and I speak with her from time to time. So maybe like something else we ran into a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. We may want to just see who our representative is, or if we don't know, or if they're not wanting to serve, then we get them replaced, so we can address what's just been put out there. But I know the one that I have appointed is still willing to serve.
Okay. So. Well, yes, Mr. Addison, if you could, tomorrow sometime, if you could send an email out just listing who the current members are, that way because in other words, obviously I didn't appoint anyone to that prior committee. I would like to know who serves on it from each district, and then we can follow up, and if they're no longer interested, we can find a replacement.
Yep, we can do that.
All right, thank you. Any other comments at this time? All right, hearing none, I don't think we have a need for a closed session tonight, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Hold on, before you do that. Are we going to recess until the 8th, until they about this contract, or are we going to bring it back on the 15th?
According to Attorney Ford, do you?
If you'd like for me to explain it, we can explain some things, because it is a contract. At this point, it's between the sheriff and the police chief, as a matter of fact. According to what my research has found, there may be some intervention from the county that's needed later on. But as far as police power and stuff like that goes between those two entities.
Okay. So if we don't have to take an action on it at this time, then I don't know that we need to recess. So, okay. All right. So, Mr. Woodburn, I'll entertain that motion again to.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Reed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.